Hey, everybody. Glad to see that we are finally on here live tonight. And tonight's Toasted Tuesdays, we were delayed a little bit to get us on here. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We've got still some issues with some of the things. Being brand new to this, there's always seemed to be a little complication of trying to get something the way we want it. But tonight, want to let you know that we are here and we are trying to put this all together. Still working on it. Worked earlier, now it's not working. So thanks for joining. And tonight we're going to be discussing solar and wow. So just want to give you some tips about solar for your type of build, whether you have a van, RV, what type of camper you have, anything like that. We've got a couple different things that we want to actually bring forward with this, is to make sure that you understand there's a variety of different types of solar builds, and take and review what you want to have. Let us know if you got some questions. Pop in there in the bottom. And so here we are, and Evelyn is providing us with some information, and I wasn't sure that. Oh boy. Okay. This is going to be a very good night. So to start off with, it is Toasted Tuesdays, and I think that my little running man here from Arizona should be honored with the little. Oh, how can I say it? I hope I don't get booted for doing something I ain't supposed to be doing on here. I don't know. But I am going to go ahead and get the night started. So grab your popcorn, grab your drink, sit down, and send us a message, because this is a very interesting night. And let's see what Evelyn has going on here. What you got over there, Evelyn? So we're looking at one of our videos about Vanlife, and now where does she go with that? I don't know where you're at or what you're controlling with. This is going to be a night. All right. So, Evelyn, Evelyn's back in my studio, and I have no idea what this girl is doing right now. I don't know. So, whatever it is that she's doing, maybe she'll let us know in just a minute, because my goodness, am I going to boot her or what? This, hey, you can take that off the stage with me. You just going to put things up there when you want to? Actually, can you check your microphone, because I don't hear anything from you. Nobody else hears anything from you. And you are in a remote zone about 500 miles from me, which is about 10 feet from me. And by golly, hearing a word, anything she's saying right now in my control booth over here, I have no idea. This has been one heck of a day. I got to tell you guys something. When you're living right beside the railroad track, just outside here, it's been a crazy day for all of us, because they kicked us out for a little while, as they said, if you're going to leave, you got to leave now, and we'll have the railroad crossing fixed up coming into our park. And so we had to drive around outside waiting for them to finish the crossing so we could come back to home. And Evelyn, could you find your way into the studio here with me, so that we could actually, so I can hear you. Anyway, So, guys, we're 5 minutes in, and let's say cheers to the night being a little toasted. And let's get the, oh my goodness. So, thanks for joining us. I want to talk about solar. And first thing with solar is that you've got to figure out what your resource is going to be, how much electricity you have to have, and and what. Oh my gosh, it's a crazy night. What are you trying to provide power to? You need to reverse engineer it instead of going about it by buying some sort of solar generator and trying to provide power for something else. The recommended way to do this is to start with your 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 power. So, for instance, I have a refrigerator in here, and it drinks 1 amp of AC. Now, 1 amp of AC, to do the math kind of simple for you, 1 amp equals to, you got to break it down what you're coming from. So 1 amp of power is basically 120 watts, okay, because you used 120 volts of AC to power it using 1 amp. So now we're 120 watts. So that's what you got to have to provide power to it. 120 watts, what are we converting it to? The amps times voltage equals watts. So you'll need to know that information so you can try to operate with it, okay? So what is your inverter going to provide to you? We're looking for it is to give you some amps, and we look at that in wattage. So if you buy an inverter that says it's 500 watts, now you know that you have a limit. My refrigerator's 120, so that will work. So if my laptop uses an extra 250 watts, I'm still within that 500 range. So, and when you're looking at inverters going to provide power for you, going to convert DC to AC, you need to figure out that you need to have a peak power and what your constant power is. So let's say my constant power is 500, my peak is 1,000. So when a piece of appliance comes on, it has a higher consumption to begin with, and so that's what you're going to look to try to do the math on. My constant power is 500 on it, and my refrigerator drinks 120, so I'm good there. Now, what's the consumption of the inverter? Generally, 4 times that power is what you're going to have. So it's drinking 1 watt or providing 1 watt out to the fridge. Its consumption is going to be 4, I think I said it wrong. So 1 amp, 120 watts going to the fridge. So it's going to drink 4 amps of power to make that 1 amp of power going to the refrigerator. So if you have a 100 amp hour battery, then you divide that by 4. That's how many hours of use that you will get off that battery. If it was running constant, but since the refrigerator does have a intermittent running capacity, so it gets cold, shuts off, runs again, shuts off. So you're going to have it intermittent, so you'll actually last several days on a 100 amp hour battery. So now I have 2 inverters in my van, and so the inverter, it looks like it's I got a 500 and I got a 2200, and so I also have a coffee pot, microwave, hot water heater, and some off and on power from different things that I've got, like a laptop and some other things. But that usually doesn't drink very much. The high consumers is my coffee pot. Now, that's not that high. It's only 800 watts. It's more than the small one. So I have to switch over to my big inverter for those power outlets around the van. Then I have my microwave that is 1,500 watts. And then I've got my hot water heater, which is about 1,200 watts. And depends on the low setting. The high setting, I think it's about 1,600. So if I'm running a hot water heater, that doggy is drinking some juice. But the best thing about it, it's only going to drink it while it's heating it up. It consumes 50 amp hours of power from my batteries. And so it will do that right on up to for about 15 to 18 minutes, depends on my setting, and then it shuts off. So it gives my batteries time to take and recharge. Again, with the microwave is 1500 watts. So my 2000 watt inverter has to be on there to pull that kind of power. So you can see the ratio there. You got to have enough batteries to provide the power for the length you need to run. And so let me give you an example of overusing your batteries. I have lithium batteries, 4 of them, so I got 400 amp hours. And there was one night that Evelyn was cold, and she didn't want me to start. We decided not to set up the propane heater. And so she said, well, I'm going to turn the heater on for just a little bit. Well, she fell asleep. Electric heater. Now, the electric heater draws something about, I think it's almost 100 amp hours of the batteries. So I believe it runs 20 or 25 amps per battery. So I got 4 of those, and that's 100 amp hours. So in 4 hours, all of my batteries were dead. So it's drinking 100 amp hours. So 4 of those batteries, I got 400 amp hours of power. And in 4 hours, my batteries in my van was dead. So we woke up one morning, freezing cold, and the batteries, I had no power at all. My whole entire system was down. I had to go start at the van to get my alternator to start charging my batteries. This was before sunrise, so I had no solar. So that was the only way I could charge up my system. So the idea of over-consuming your batteries, whether you have a solar generator or you have battery banks that's providing to the inverters, that's providing to your hot water heater, electric blanket, your CPAP machine, or whatever it is that you have out there, you got to make sure that you have enough battery to last the time frame that you need, especially if the item that you're operating is going to consume power the entire time. Evelyn, do you have any photos of the system inside in the van? One second here. What? I said I do, but I don't know how to load it. See, so that's our problem, is that we don't know how to load the stuff, because last week we were operating and everything we put up, videos and photos, videos, and everything worked properly. This week, no dice. For some reason, there's an update to the system, or maybe not. And so our photos is not working with a presenter package here. So I don't know what is going on, but folks, it is crazy how sometimes things work and then things don't work. Anyway, so let's see here what we can come up with. I'm going to see if I can pop in something else. Okay, so I think the system back in the background, my editing department is going to be pulling that up in a moment. Well, here we go. Got something coming along here. And there it was. This was my system. And I'm going to change this up. So you can see the 2200 watt inverter there. Now, this was my chicken scratch mess as I was putting everything together. And I had things in different format in the very beginning. You see like the extension cord down at the bottom? That was running to just my refrigerator, and that plugged in to my blue inverter that was over there. That's my 500. 2200s in between there, and I believe I had my um, yeah, that mess right in the middle there is my circuit breakers, and so that is uh, oh my goodness. So that's the circuit breaker, and you see one. I only had two batteries in the very beginning. On the right hand side is my inverter. I mean my charge controller. Then my crazy battery setup, and this was when I was putting everything together in the very beginning. So, but this was one of those items there as in the very beginning. So, whatever it looks like, it doesn't make any difference as long as it works. Some people like a nice, neat trim circuit, and I my system looks a lot better than that right now. That's an older photo. I do have four batteries, and none of them are sitting right up top on there. Um, I don't know where my new stuff is, but so Evelyn's got some more things out there, and you guys, hey, please. I know this is going to be a mess today, and I apologize for that. And we'll come back here maybe next week and have something a little bit better for you. And my guy, he's going like he doesn't know what's happening today either. So, oh my gosh, is this a mess for me today? Well, look, Toasted Tuesdays, have some fun. Take you another little drink, sit down. There's a little bit more of the show left. We're probably going to cut this out early tonight because of technical difficulties, and then we'll figure it out, and we'll be back on a little bit later on and provide you something better. But your conversion rate from your everybody talks about amps and watts as the two biggest mix-up that there is. So you want to take and whenever you find something that says it's X number of watts, figure out what the power source is. So, for instance, a microwave is 1500 watts. 1500 watts times 120 gives you your divided by 120 is your amps. So 1500 divided by 120 is your amps. I can't do the math on that. It was 1,000 divided by 120. 1,200 by 120, is 10 amps. So that's pretty easy numbers there. Most household currents are 15 amps in a home. When they got the plug, I don't know if I got a plug here where I can show you, but I don't. But most homes are 15 amp circuits, and that's why you can have a microwave on something, a coffee pot on the same circuit, and not have a problem because they're usually ran intermittent. On the what I got over here. Oh yeah, so a bunch of solar tips out here for tonight. Here we go, and trying to see if there's anything else. If you got any questions, definitely drop them in the comments during the live or a little bit later on. Be glad to try to answer anything that's going on. Let's see what we know to. Sure. Yes, give me the solar pictures, Evelyn. That'd be great. And so let's see what we got going on here. And this is a photo here of what we got sitting on top of our van. And you'll notice that I do have 4 100-watt solar panels up there. I made it around our vents. We got 2 max air vents up on the top there. But that's our solar panel sitting up on the top, 400 watts. And so that makes it pretty simple. So my system right now is 4 100-watt providing, I think I'm pushing in there about 5 amps per panel, so it's usually 5. So I got 20 watts going in. My Rengy charge controller converts that over and takes the excess voltage, which runs about 82, 83 volts, takes that extra voltage and converts it back into amps, So it's got something to charge those batteries with. So normally on a good day, I'm usually pushing 20 to 30 amps of charge power into my batteries and going from that, charging up those batteries. So when I have a completely dead battery, it could take me, my 4 batteries, completely dead, it can actually take me multiple days to take and get that in a situation where I'm fully charged, because I'm only doing up to 20 amps here. So 20 amps for one battery is 5 hours. So if I only got about 6 hours of daylight, that means it's going to take me 4 days to get my batteries back charged up after we run out of battery power, like we did on that one day. So back to the whole concept, make sure in the very beginning you look at what your consumption is. If your consumption is that you're using 500 watts and it's continuous for 5 hours of use, 8 hours of use. Let's say, as an example, let's say you're running a CPAP machine. It's going to run 1,000 watts. Let's use simple math for everybody here. Let's say it's running 1,200 watts. That's huge. That means that if you've got a 100 amp hour battery, you're going to need a minimum of about a 1,500 watt inverter to power that CPAP. Now, I know they don't use that much power, but I'm kind of giving an idea. So if you got a 1,500 watt unit, now it's going to burn about 50 watts an hour on that, 50 amps out of your battery. So in just a matter of 2 hours, you could have that 100 amp hour battery dead. So when you guys are looking at running one of those inverter systems, what they call a power generator, where you have a small portable device that you're carrying with you to take and operate your devices at in the evening when you're sleeping, like a CPAP or something like that. That's why they don't last all night long, because you got to have that thing very, very charged up and get it going. Oh my goodness. So hey, but anyway, I know tonight's kind of funky because we got a lot of things going on. But look at what your end result is on what you got to have operating for your power consumption. Do the math backwards, find out what you need to have, how long it's going to last. And so if you had one of those little power packs and it was operating that way, you're not going to last all night long. So look at how much energy you got to have. And you know what? Tonight, because we're having so much technical difficulties and can't get anything up, I'm going to have to take and I'm going to go ahead and cut out of here. I know that we got some things, but I'm going to have to get out of here because I know that Evelyn just said that there's a serious leak under the sink, and I'm going to have to cut out of here. What'd you say, Evelyn? It's hard to communicate with her. And I think, and there is a serious leak under the sink. You guys see how serious that is. Oh my gosh. Did she not come up with something that just makes the whole daggone screen so funny? Well, guys, look, I need to go ahead and cut out of here, and we'll catch back up a little bit later when we have a better practice a little bit better on this, get it so that we don't have so much problems with our live stream product. We tried to put this together ahead of time for you. Today was just kind of a serious bad day. And so I'm going to cut out of here. And I think Evelyn's going to play a little short video at the end of this for us so we can get out of this and exit. And I'll see you guys later. Maybe not. See, that's the kind of technical difficulties we're having tonight. Folks, I'm going to call it a night, and I hope everybody has a good evening. And we'll pick back up a little bit later on when we have some good stuff happening. There we go.
Hi there, fellow wanderers. Welcome back to another episode of Toasted Tuesday, where we're serving up piping hot tips and tricks for life on the road. This week's topic, we're diving into something electrifying, solar power installation. Join us Tuesday night live at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube, and make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications.